I experienced one of the most infuriating conversations I've had in a long time. It was with one of my buddies as well. I was having this conversation about whatever, it doesn't matter, and every time I would try to speak up and say my thoughts and my opinions on what he was saying, I would just boom, get cut off like that. And I would have no control of where the conversation was going, and I had no idea how to react to it. I would just sit there and listen, and every time I wanted to chime in and add to the conversation, it was always cut off. I was cut off instantly. And people nowadays just don't know how to communicate normally anymore. That's what it feels like. You know, you'll be having a conversation with somebody and either they're socially awkward or, maybe you're socially awkward, in the conversation. You're just not at your best moment. I just feel like people don't know how to communicate like they used to. You used to be able to just have conversations and it would go fluently, nobody asked questions, and it was just really easy to get out what you had to say and how to say it. It was just easy conversation. Nowadays, it seems to be the opposite, to where every conversation is awkward or just weird, or there's just something off about conversations nowadays. And it could be because we're always staring at screens. That could be partially the reason. I know I'm not proud of my screen time, but at the same time, I can't really put my finger on it. Like, I don't know where to look and be like, that's the problem. That's why people are socially awkward. It very well could be COVID and the lockdown. That could have definitely prevented people from becoming, it definitely did prevent people from becoming more social. But I just can't put my finger on what the actual issue is. Like, nowadays, for like 99% of people, they're just all socially awkward, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, I try to have a verbal conversation to them like I'm having a conversation with you right now, and it just, the words don't come out for them, or they're just awkward, or they're not looking at you in the face. You're like, hey, like, when I talk to you, you want me to look. Like, when I talk to you, I want you to, like, look at me in the eyes, I don't want you looking around, like, looking at fiddling your thumbs, like, twitching, being jittery, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to have a conversation, like, eye to eye, and just have a general conversation that's, like, not weird, and it's just normal. And it just, nowadays, nobody's like that. Like, I'll have a conversation with, I'll have a conversation with people I know, and it's just not normal. Like, I'll just have, I'm talking, and either what they're saying is, like, you can tell they're, like, awkward, and, like, they want to get out of the conversation, even though they know me, right? Like, even though they're my friends, and they know me, like, they want to have a conversation, but at the same time, they don't want to actually do any talking. Man, it's just weird. And I don't really know where to put my finger on it. And on top of, like, social awkwardness, I also cannot stand seeing other people drive. Like, bad drivers, like, really, really bad drivers. I'll be at a four-way stop, and it's clearly their turn to go, right? Because they pulled up to the line first. And then but they're, like, waving to you. Like, they're like, hey, come on, go. And you're like, that they're trying to be nice. But you're like, they're supposed to be going. So you go. And then right when you go, they also pull forward. And now it's this awkward moment. I can't stand it. And it's like, it kind of makes you, like, all jittery and nervous. And you're like, dude, like, you're supposed to go in the first place, and you're trying to be nice, but now we're both pretending like we're supposed to be going, and no one knows what to do. So eventually you just go, and you move on with your day, and that's that. Like, another example is I was at my local Food Lion going to the store to grab some quick essential stuff that I needed. And when I went to check out, the guy said his normal line at the cashier. He was like, hey, how's your day? I said, great. And then I started asking, like, how's your night? Like, because it was dark outside and all that, and it was nighttime. And he kind of, like, looked at me like, how do I even respond to that? Because he's just not used to answering, like, real-world questions, which feels like it should be essential. Like, everybody should be able to respond to that normally. But he just looked at me for a second and was like, oh, it's great. Like, and did not build from that. Now, and granted, he could have been having a bad day, but it's like, come on, bro, like, respond, like, let's talk. Like, people just don't talk anymore, and nobody's social. And even when you are in the presence of people being social, like in social environments, people are just awkward. Like, most of people they're just awkward, dude. And it's just frustrating because when I talk to people, I expect, like, a good social interaction. It doesn't even have to be a positive one. It just has to be some, like, social interaction that's, like, meaningful and makes sense. It's frustrating when the social interactions are so dull. And I think the solution to this problem for everybody, including myself, is instead of watching videos like this, just being more social. Instead of posting stuff on Instagram all the time, it's being more social and actually doing the thing and living it, Now, taking pictures every now and then is great because you want to be able to store that memory and to be able to see it again, like relive it in a way. So the main takeaway from this is to be social and live in the moment. And we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel. So that would mean a lot if you could hit that subscribe button. All right, see y'all later.